Good morning, Alan.
Morning.
It's the session is always bittersweet. It's so nice to see our friends in Allen, Texas. 18 years ago, something truly horrific happened in our country. It changed the landscape of who we are, the way we think, what our normal is. We were called on that day 18 years ago to never forget the victims, to never forget the first responders, the lives that were lost, even the lifestyle and the ideals and the norm that was lost on that day. But we must also choose to remember something else that came of that day, because I remember following the events of 9/11, the way that our nation came together, that there was no separation based on ethnicity or color or race or religion. We were all Americans, and we were all there to support one another. Following 9/11, our groups came together, and we have formed a bond and a partnership that has lasted these 18 years. That's also important to remember. So I thank you for your call to do that 18 years ago and to sustain it for all of these years. I'm so appreciative of our Mr. Cataline and JD and all the people over there that started that program and continue it. And students, it's your responsibility to continue this mission. Never forget and always remember. Thank you.
In the early hours of September 11, 2001, students and teachers across the United States had just settled into a new school year when the day's tragic events began to unfold. Now 18 years have passed since Americans heard those unbelievable reports that a plane and then another plane had crashed into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City. Soon this was followed by a crash from a hijacked jet slamming into the Pentagon and another into a field in southwest Pennsylvania. The United States was under attack, killing nearly 3,000 Americans. Who would have thought that these tragic events would link two high schools over 15,000 miles apart in what has evolved into the Tale of Two Cities program?
1 year later, 20 students and faculty members from the Allen, Texas PALS program visited their new friends at Linden High School. Today, 18 years later, students from Allen, Texas and Linden High School have maintained their video conferencing relationship.
Keep trying.
I, ROMINA NUNEZ, will now present to you all a poem written by James Medora for this 9/11. On the dawn of a new millennium, many patriots died in the name of freedom. Many heroes stepped forth to face the terror. Some gave blood, some gave sweat, and some even their lives. In our hearts, we feel their pain. In our minds, we know the truth. We are no longer innocent. The terror is in our lives. Now we must confront our fears and face our demons. Our resolve is strong. We will not waver. We will not sit idly by. We will not turn the other cheek. We will not forget. United we stand, home of the brave, land of the free.
Today, we are honored to hear from Mr. Degnan, one of Linden High School's business teachers. He has a personal experience with the tragedy that occurred on 9/11, and we are honored that he is willing to share his story.
Hello, Allen, Texas.
Hello.
Thank you for sharing this with Linden today. So I want you to know I've done this in the past, and this has helped me heal. So it's still difficult, so I can't watch the videos that you guys watch. It's just too difficult because I lived it. So you guys are watching it from afar, and if you lived it, it's still disturbing. So I want you to thank you for keeping 9/11, calling it 9/11 Day alive, which is great, which is what you were doing. And it's kind of the reason that I'm a teacher now. So it's been absolutely a nice thing is that it made me become a teacher after a couple of years. But so that's good for me, but I don't know how good it is for my students. I want to thank you for keeping it a solemn day. I always feel bad for the Veterans Day when it turns into Veterans Day sales where you can go and get a a nice deal on a car, and then anybody can go. So it doesn't seem very special for the veterans. But both Alan and you have kept it special for solemn day, which is the way it should be. Still seems like yesterday for a lot of us that lived it. So it's 18 years has gone fast. So thank you again for keeping it alive. People are still dying from the toxic dust that are there, and they came down, and so we all went back. We felt obligated to go back. I'll give you a little background in a second, but they told us that the air was okay. And I feel bad, I throw the name out. It was our governor, I won't mention her by name, who was in charge of the EPA, the New Jersey governor, who was there saying that the air was okay. And it was not okay. And I kind of knew it wasn't okay because I worked next to a scientist. And I'll go into background. I was really a trader on Wall Street, but he was a scientist that traded on Wall Street. And when we came back after we went down to Philadelphia, he brought a mask in for me and for him because I worked right next to him. He said, wear this mask. This air is not good. They're not telling us. So students, go and get knowledge so you're smart, because everybody was saying that it was okay. And the scientists who was smart said no, it wasn't. So we actually wore the masks. And so it might have helped me to this day that I was down there with those masks. So, stay in school and get smart. Okay. With this toxic dust, so I mentioned the bad part about New Jersey there. With the toxic dust, the good part is that Jon Stewart, who was a late night's host, is still championing it for the firefighters and all the people that went down there and helped. And he went down to Congress and he kind of had to beg for money for these people, which isn't good. And they did finally get the money, but they have to kind of beg for it every few years, and it's just not right. These people are still dying and they need help. I'm not part of the study yet because I should go in and be part of the study because I did work there, and they want to know how I was affected. Maybe the mask helped me. So I was a trader on Wall Street. I was a specialist. So I was on the American Stock Exchange. So the buildings that went down, the towers 1 and 2, all to the left. But our building, as you came out, was right to the right. So it was like a Burger King and NYU, and then our building. So our building wasn't knocked down, but it was even closer to the World Trade Center than some of the World Trade Center buildings. If you've ever been there, it's really gigantic. So our business was destroyed, and we were all just scrambling, not knowing what to do. The friends that we lost about 7 brokers. One of them I knew pretty closely, and he went to school with me, and he was a friend of mine, and it was sad. They were on top of the World Trade Center. They had a beautiful restaurant up there, so we always do some entertaining. So they were on the very top. So we lost all 7 brokers there. That was sad. I lost my cousin, and I want to thank you for keeping this memory alive for them, that they didn't die in vain, that maybe we're starting to do some nice things for each other. My cousin was a big shot with Aon, and he used to take the train in, but he didn't take the train in that day because one of his staff members had a broken leg, and she lived by him. So he said, you know what, I'll drive right in. So he drove right into the World Trade Center to help her because she had a broken leg. And they lost both of them. They do have a communication from her, where she picked up her phone and she called like Columbia. She was able to get through. I don't know if she caught that satellite, but they never found her and they never found my cousin. They're still hoping they get some remains. And New York and everybody, they're still working on that to try and bring some closure to these families that are missing. And every once in a while you hear about it. So we're still hoping for my cousin and for his friend. I can't go back to New York. My family has gone back there. I'm not afraid. If I need to, I'll go in there, but it doesn't bring back good memories. But I can tell you this, that area has changed. I know you'll come over. The memorial is beautiful. My family has gone there. They said it's terrific. They wish I could go, but I can't. And I want to start to tell you that keeping people's memories alive, and 9/11 is trying to trying to do good deeds. So they're trying to say do one good deed today for everybody. So you already have it done. Okay, you have a good deed. You had good deeds years ago when you helped me heal. It was a terrible experience, but we can move on, and hopefully through this we never have this tragedy again. And the last thing is I just want to thank you again for letting me heal at Allen, Texas, and here for everything that you've done for me and for everybody from the 9/11 victims. Thank you, and your good deed is done for the day. You've helped me, you've helped others. So carry on, and hopefully this never has to happen again. Thank you.